Welcome back to Edge Radio TV Network. I'm your host, Nicole Giddens. I have my co-host here, Brooke White.
Hello again.
She was just able to share her story, her survivor story, and we thank you for all your vulnerability, and I'm sure you helped somebody today.
Well, I hope. That's all I care about.
Yep.
Honestly.
So we have our guest here, Dawn Candy. How are you doing today, Dawn?
I'm good.
Thank you so much.
I'm a little nervous.
Oh, it's okay.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous.
I started in that seat.
Yeah. It's just a conversation. Yeah. We're just going to have a conversation, and you're a survivor of domestic violence, correct?
I am, and actually I promoted this segment today, this morning, in a networking event, and someone I've known for a really long time said, as long as I've known you, I did not know that. So this is the first time that I'm actually sharing the majority of my story.
Welcome.
Yeah. And you're such a classy lady, and you have such a great aura about you, and you would never think, if you saw you on the street, that you had gone through any type of abuse or would have put up with that type of behavior. Right. As a matter of fact, that was a problem in the formula because of your status and your job and everything. You felt like you needed to hide it so much that you couldn't go get help.
When it was going on, I had a very public job in the Woodlands area, and I was ashamed that it was happening to me. I was embarrassed that it was happening to me, and so I would cover up the bruises. I would miss work because of injury. And so a lot of people did not know because I tried to conceal it as much as I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always will.
How did it all begin? Start from the beginning.
So with the most severe abuse, I was married to this gentleman that it took a very long time. Although you talked a lot about the red flags, and so I have to say they are there from the very beginning. Yep. And oftentimes we ignore them. Or in my case, I think I thought I could fix him. Okay.
You thought you were his person.
I thought I saw, what he could be. And so I stayed with him through a lot of red flags, through us having children together. We were a blended family, so yours, mine, and ours. And just gradually through the years, things got worse. Alcohol played a part. Mental health played a part for him. He was bipolar. So whenever they get on medication, they're great. But when they decide they're great, they stop taking medication. That's a whole nother story. Yes. But the alcohol also does not play a good part when someone has that kind of issue. And so there was a lot of verbal abuse, the emotional abuse, a lot of strain with our children because it was that blended family. And so it was a gradual event that took place. And the screaming and hollering, the throwing things, it got to a point when it got physical with me, was about 6 months before I actually left.
Okay.
And it was because immediately I went away with a girlfriend for the weekend trying to figure out, what am I going to do? I've got these children. We have this house in the Woodlands. I've got this job. How am I going to manage this? And so I decided I'm going to make this work. I have a commitment in this marriage. So I went back and I did the best that I could, and I probably would have stayed longer, but he pulled a gun on my daughter, who was 16 at the time. And we wrestled for that gun. Yeah. And I'm so fortunate.
It did not go off.
Yes, I am very fortunate. My mother was actually on the phone with my daughter
it's
at
your
the
daughter,
time.
Right?
My daughter.
That's
yes.
not right.
So my mom overheard all of this, the scuffle, the screaming, the everything, and I was yelling for the other children in the house to call 911, go get someone, as I'm fighting for this gun. It was at that point that I decided, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be a statistic. I don't want my family to be a statistic and be on the 10 o'clock news. Yeah. That's really where I felt like it was going. And so we got out. The next day, I gathered things for my daughter, my son, and myself, and left while he was at work. We got away. Yeah. Did not tell him where we were for a good 30 days. I was trying to keep it a secret. We bounced from a friend to a corporate housing apartment that I had a friend who did corporate housing, and she set us up there.
That's awesome.
Because it was a financial thing, too. I didn't have the money. I wasn't making this great amount of money. I just had a very public job.
Right.
And so I maintained working while I was leaving. So I was always afraid he was going to show up at work.
Same.
Afraid for the kids. It happened during the summertime, so they did not go to school, which was a good thing,
Yeah.
right? They were safe.
Yeah.
I knew where they were.
That's true.
But the hardest part was trying to, again, keep it a secret, help my kids heal, find a place to live. I went to the women's shelter and talked to a counselor, and she told me, she said, well, you know, most women who are in abusive relationships go back 7 times.
See?
7 times. And I said, no, ma'am, that will not happen to me. I will not do that. And I didn't go back to that abusive spouse. We did divorce, but I kept picking the same type of men.
But I want to stop you on the picking word. They picked you.
Well, yes and no.
Yeah?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm going to take responsibility to say that I entered the relationship.
True.
And
Consensual.
Yes.
At first.
Oh, well,
and then
yeah,
you're like,
yes,
consensual.
when it becomes abusive, then yes, you realize and you get away.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But this morning I mentioned in my last event for the physical part of the violence was in 2005, not that long ago. And it was severe to the point of being hospitalized for a concussion. This whole side of my face basically and my head was, they called it macerated from the beating.
Wow.
So that gentleman left the state. Nothing ever happened to him.
All right.
When I actually decided to pick myself up was 3 years later, after more bad choices of men.
Mm-hmm.
And my best friend kept asking me, why do bad things keep happening to you? And my question to myself was, I'm the common denominator. What am I doing?
You're accepting this behavior.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's
you
right.
treat people
I
how
allowed it. I allowed it to happen to me.
You teach people how to treat you.
Yes.
Yep. That's true.
Yes. So in 2008, everything shifted. My mindset shifted. I understood that I did play a part. Not that it was okay for them to hit me at all.
Yeah, no.
But I had a part in it in allowing it. And so why? Why was I doing that? You know, you go to therapy and therapy, you know, the therapist will tell you, well, did you have any daddy issues? Well,
No.
okay. I did. I grew up without my father, often wondered why he never called. What's wrong with me? Doesn't he love me? So you could consider that a daddy issue. I'm happy to say that my dad and I had a great relationship when he passed away. We reconnected and things were wonderful. And so he did get to see me healthy, by the way.
Nice.
But, you know, you just realize that you are worth so much more.
Yeah.
And life really can be happy. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to reach out to somebody. And that was one thing. You don't have anything to be embarrassed about.
No.
Because you're not causing this. Like you said,
It's not.
it's not your behavior that's doing it.
No.
It's something in them.
Mm-hmm, it is.
And it is all
It's
about.
because they hate themselves.
They're not happy within.
Yeah,
It's just,
no.
it's sad and true, and
Yes.
that's the reality of it.
Yes. And we just get caught up in it because we ignore those red flags and because we think we can fix them or
Well, we're the good
we don't want to
ones.
believe it.
We want to help too. Like,
That's
I'm a
right.
fixer. I am a fixer, and not anymore. I used to be. But
Yes.
we think we can help.
Yes, and that's exactly how I felt too. I thought, yeah, I can fix him. I can make him better. I can do this. And then realizing, let me just shift that. Let me fix me. Let me fix me. You know, friends used to tease and say my picker was broken. Well, okay,
That's
I
what they
fixed
say to
that.
me.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have to love yourself first. So number one thing is love yourself first, and then
Yes.
everything else will fall into place. You'll notice the red flags.
You will.
You'll notice a weird behavior.
Yes.
And listen to your intuition on things. I watched my dad beat my mother for, until they got a divorce, and then begged her to divorce him, and they were married for 23 years.
Oh, wow.
And so when I got into relationships with men, I had that conception that, you're supposed to fight. Not that I thought it was okay when I was going through it as a child, but that was just the environment that I lived in. It
Right.
was
It
a
was your
combative
normal.
environment.
That was your
yeah,
normal.
like you're supposed to yell and scream and
And fight back and all
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was not fun to deal with. And if you're in an abusive relationship and you do have children around, don't be so selfish and think that it's just happening to you. Even if the kids are not getting harmed, it's happening to them too. Get out.
They're seeing it and they're thinking that this is okay.
And it causes PTSD for children.
And it does.
It does.
They were my number one thing, God and because we didn't share children and we had a blended, but we didn't have our own.
Yeah.
You're not gonna corrupt my kids.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna. I didn't grow up. My parents were still married. I didn't see my parents fight until I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
Literally, swear to God, never. So I didn't. That was. I don't know how I ended up with that. But my kids are not gonna. You know what I mean? I don't think that's fair for them. They don't ask for it.
You got involved so early in your life with relationships. You were young when you had your first child.
Mm-hmm.
He was an addict. Then you had the next one, which had his own abuse.
Situation,
Yep, and then you went from that.
And they were all narcissists.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of them
so you
sociopath,
kept just getting
though.
more broken.
Like one of them psychotic too.
Mm-hmm,
But no, seriously, broken people are always attracted to people that have a glow around them too.
Yes, and you have to heal.
There's that.
Yeah.
You have to allow yourself to heal.
You do.
You can't jump into. That's another thing. You can't. That doesn't fix nothing. Jumping like into another relationship. It
Right.
won't
You have
fix
to be okay being by yourself, enjoying your own company, understanding. If you need to have a pity party today, it's okay. Just don't stay there.
No.
Right?
Right. It's okay to not feel okay.
It's okay.
I had a day yesterday where I was just like, ew.
Yeah.
Oh, the day before don't get me started on the day before. Oh my God, I was sitting in my
always
car.
be frolicking through the fields. But with that, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about an event that you're going to have for some sex trafficking that I want our audience to know about. And we're going to break a little bit more on what you can do to avoid this type of behavior happening to you. So stay tuned.
Are you a small business owner concerned about the downturn in the economy? Top business leaders like Mattress Mac and Warren Buffett will tell you that now is the time to promote your business more than ever. People need your services. Your business needs an edge. Learn about special advertising packages for small businesses right here on Edge Radio. Find out more, give us a call at 281-744-0446. That's 281-744-0446. Edge, because truth still matters.
Welcome back to Edge Radio TV Network. We're here with Dawn Candy, and we were just talking about domestic violence and narcissistic behavior. And she is going to be having an event that's a little bit of a side note for some sex trafficking, but I wanted you to give the audience some cues or some advice on what they can do to avoid welcoming that into their life. Like if you could tell somebody 5 things that they could do, what would it be?
5 things.
Okay.
Gosh.
10.
I was going to say, you're really putting me on the spot here. So
we won't count.
First of all, let me just say that sex trafficking is prevalent in our community. I know you've been hearing a lot about it probably for the past 2 to 4 years, and you're probably really hearing a lot more recently. It is because we need to protect our children. Yep. The biggest way they're getting, I know you probably have this thought in your mind that sex trafficking, they come and kidnap the person off the street, throw them in a van and take them off. And you think it only happens in a third world country. It's happening here. It's not happening by the way of the van. It's happening by the way of social media. If you have young teens, young kids in your household, and they are connected to social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, all of them, they are being preyed upon. They are chatting with people that they don't really know who they're talking to. They are being vulnerable to them. And I share this with you because I last year got custody of my 3 grandchildren, my oldest being 17. Her biggest thing was she wanted a cell phone. And I was adamantly against it. She ended up getting one for her birthday last April. And by June, she was being what they call groomed through social media. Someone had befriended her. Someone had started to alienate her from her family, her friends, started telling her how cruel we were because we wouldn't let her have her cell phone overnight in her bedroom, that we didn't have her best interest at heart, that we didn't love her, and started pulling her away emotionally from us. By August, she ran away from home. By September, we have no idea where she is. We do know she's being trafficked. Right now, today, on this Friday afternoon, we know she is being sex trafficked in the city of Houston. But I don't know where she is. And so I'm encouraging everyone to please pay attention, know what your kids are doing, your grandkids, because it is so vitally important to educate people, our law enforcement, our lawmakers. This is a crime that's happening. And the way that you can tell if a girl or a boy, it happens to boys too, oftentimes you will see them being disconnected. They don't make eye contact with people. They seem very withdrawn when they're in public.
They're timid.
That's correct.
They're scared.
They may even be looking over their shoulder to see who is watching them at the time. They may change the way they dress. If they have not been pulled away from your home yet, it could be a brand new circle of friends. So please watch all of those things, all of those. And when I shared this with a group of women that I knew, they said, oh, she's just being a teenager.
No.
Just her defiant attitude is just being a teenager. She's 16. She's this, she's that. It wasn't. That's not what it was. And I had a gut feeling. So the event that you mentioned is being put on for Hands of Justice. They are a nonprofit organization that is survivor-led. And it's on March the 5th. It's called Art Reach for Freedom. The theme is I Have a Name, and they will be featuring survivors and showing their faces and their names and letting people know there is a face that goes with this. It is not just something. There are people, there are families probably in your community right now that are being impacted by this. So it means so much. We're looking for sponsorships and ticket sales. Yeah. It's a Friday night from 6 to 9 at Woods Edge Church. We would love for you to get involved if you can. Becca Carey, who is the founder, has been helping my family immensely with resources to help us try to find our granddaughter. But the biggest thing is, her being a survivor herself, she said, you can't save them. They have to be ready to be pulled out. Once they get in so deep, they have to be willing to accept the help. And for me, that's heartbreaking because I desperately am trying to find her with law enforcement every day. I'm talking to someone every day and showing pictures.
It makes me
You know, and our
So
kids
sad.
really don't deserve privacy. My
They
kids get
don't.
mad at me,
My
but
kids do
I
too.
snoop through their phones
Yep.
and then I wait a while so they
Yeah.
don't know when I'm going to do it again.
Same.
So I can, if they're going to slip, I'll catch them slipping. And I don't care if they get aggravated with me
Nope.
or not. And sometimes if I don't find anything, they don't have to know that I snoop through their
Right.
phones. There's also stuff that you can download on your cell phone
Yeah.
that you can block apps that your kids cannot get on these specific apps if you're worried about some activity on there. But
I think it's Family
get
360.
nosy, be involved,
Yes,
ask some
that's
questions.
the thing. Be involved.
My kids tell me some of the stuff sometimes, and I'm like,
I know.
did you really have to tell me that? Did you really have to say that out loud? But it's not, and it's not something that they're basically doing, but just other kids at school, or just something that most kids don't share with their parents. And I'm glad we have that dialogue, and
Right.
I really think that we need more of that. This whole privacy thing and
They don't need
everything else.
privacy.
No, and don't feel like you have to keep up with the Joneses
You
just
don't.
because Sally has all this stuff. If you're feeling, your intuition is telling you that it's not good for your child, if your
Don't do
child is
it.
easy manipulated,
Right.
don't
Well,
do it.
and like you said, know their friends, because they're being recruited by people in the schools, by kids in the schools, because they're involved already. And so their trafficker is telling them, introduce us to someone else, bring someone else to this party.
Mhm.
If they start going to parties late at night, if you've taken their phone away and they come home with another phone, that's a red flag for you.
Oh, wow.
Somebody is trying to stay in touch.
Yes.
That happened with my
Did it?
granddaughter as well. She showed up with
Another phone.
an iPhone. I'm sorry.
What?
Where did you get this? A friend gave it to her, and I'm thinking,
Nobody
don't
gives out
think so.
iPhones.
Correct. Red flags. So just be alert, be aware, make sure you meet their friends, make sure you meet the parents and understand. I will tell you that we had a speaker at our WISE conference last year whose daughter was being trafficked. She was recruited by another family in the Woodlands area. The mom was involved.
Oh, and that happens more than people realize.
Yes,
Moms,
the mom
women are
was
involved just as much.
So please make
Oh.
sure you are kind of vetting the family that you're allowing your kids to go spend time with.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to touch base on that too, because I have younger children, and even these apps with like Roblox and Minecraft and stuff like that, I have to go through those
Yep.
because
Yeah.
those are
Those are the ones that they're
that's where they
hitting up.
start. I mean, that's where they start, and so you have to start so young and tell your kids these things because they're growing up in a whole different world than we grew up
That's
in.
right.
I mean, stranger danger was a real thing in my day, so
Yes.
you know.
We have ran out of time.
Are we out?
A week or
God,
two.
that went
I know
fast.
this goes by so fast every
Wow.
time. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Let our
thank
audience
you.
know how they can get in touch with you for this event.
So
Oh, yes.
actually, if you'll look me up on Facebook, Dawn Candy, also look up Hands of Justice. We have the flyer there for that as well. But I'm a business owner in the Woodlands. My email address is dawn@ipromoteyou.biz. You can call me on my cell, 713-992-1995. I would love to chat with you and just help spread the word and educate people.
Tell somebody, y'all.
And
Thank
with
you.
that, we are out. Thank you, ladies, so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
your stories with me today and everyone else. And you guys stay tuned next week. We'll see you then.
See ya.
Bye.